Hey everyone, it's Marabelle Blue with a new Marabelle Blue Unfiltered, the video version. Now, yes, I have been doing some unfiltered shows talking about reality TV and all of this good stuff. But basically, all of my podcasts have been um, done through a different platform where I was doing live Saturday night shows. So I'm here to tell you that I will no longer be using Blog Talk Radio. I will not be doing live Saturday shows because my life is a little crazy. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of different projects that I'm involved in, and I just couldn't make the time. Plus, the $40 a month with Blog Talk Radio was just not worth it. And the platform I'm using now is less expensive and it's easy, and I can edit audio and do all that good stuff. Yay! So I wanted to talk about today terms of service because sometimes we need a refresher and we need an update. And I did begin taking notes to discuss a little bit of business terms and marketing tactics that you can use to make your business flourish. But I might save that for like a paid episode. Only because, there are some people out there lifting your information and reselling it to other people, and that's messed up. So I'm not with all that. So I printed out some stuff that I wanted to talk about as far as the terms of service is concerned with both Facebook and Instagram. We're not going to do Twitter because I already did that when they changed everything. I wanted to focus more on Facebook and Instagram because let me just tell you, shit has been a little effed up lately. So yesterday I woke up in a really good mood. Yesterday was Monday, today's Tuesday, and hopefully I can put this up sometime this week. And I was working out. That's another thing. I've been working out, and I'm trying to really stay committed according to doctor's orders and just really taking better care of myself so that I could live a nice, long, happy life. There's a lot of things that I still need to accomplish. So with all that being said, I felt really good. I got up from working out. After I got off the treadmill, I went and I did some crunches. I lifted some weights. I did a little bit of yoga stretches, and I go to my phone, look at my Instagram, because I put up kind of like a risque picture, but it wasn't risque where you couldn't see anything, basically. And boy, did that picture get a lot of likes. And I'm like, yay, because I'm doing different things. I'm delving in other stuff. And I was happy about it. And then I go and I use this third-party app because every now and then I like to check periodically who unfollowed me so that I could unfollow them, because I'm like, why should I keep following you? That's just me. And when I go back to Instagram, it logged me out. It says we detected suspicious activity. And I go to log back in and it's not letting me in. And I'm like, well, what's going on? I know that this happened like once before and I didn't have any issues. I was able to change my password and go in. And then this time around, it wasn't happening. So I got really upset. And of course, that's not the only Instagram account I have. I have one, Marabelle Blue, and I have two other accounts, one for my magazine and one, of course, for my dogs, because I just felt like they needed their own. Who doesn't have an animal Instagram account? So mine do, specifically just for them. And I went on my animal account and I couldn't find myself. It said user not found. Like you could see me, my picture, how many posts I had. You couldn't see any followers. You couldn't see the numbers of the people that I was following. You didn't see the pictures. It was just crazy. And I'm saying, like, what's going on over here? I'm able to log in and they're saying we're going to review your account and we'll get back to you in the next 24 hours. Of course, now here I am Tuesday and I still can't get into that account. As a matter of fact, when I type in Marabelle Blue, the only one that comes up is the new account that I created yesterday. But the other one does not come up at all. I've tried contacting Instagram and I'm kind of right now at this point chalking it up to a loss. And I'm very, very upset. I mean, I was so upset yesterday, I couldn't even sit in front of my laptop. I was furious. I have more shows that I need to edit for KEM Top Talk interviews and discussions. And when I'm editing stuff, I enjoy doing that. I like what I'm doing. I like what I'm listening to. The conversation becomes re-engaging again. So when I write a little synopsis for the magazine, I'm able to write the conversation, what took place, so that people would know what it is that they're going to be listening to in advance. And I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't even watch Friends. I just got so addicted to Friends. I've watched like all of the seasons probably now 10 times, and I just never get tired of these episodes. And I just couldn't find myself even just enjoying the repeats of Friends because I lost my account. And I'm like thinking about the people that I was supporting and friends that I have on there that probably don't know. And I mean, unless they figured it out. But see, this is one of the things that I talk about when I'm talking about marketing and promotion. And what have I said? I mean, it's like I'm just going to eat up my own words, is that don't rely on social media alone to sell your products. Now, of course, social media is a very, very big thing. We all rely on it in some form or another to promote our books, to promote our products, to promote whatever it is. And people have been very dissatisfied, especially in the adult entertainment industry, with Instagram and with Facebook, because basically people get thrown out. Now, of course, now you know I'm going to come for Facebook because I stopped using Facebook. Now, the only time I did use it, I will admit, was yesterday. I still have my account, but I barely log on to tell people, because I know I had some people that are on my Facebook page that were on my Instagram, to let them know, hey, listen, my shit just got disconnected with no reasoning whatsoever. And this is the new account. Just because, sometimes people think, oh, like, why did Marabelle Blue unfollow me? I didn't unfollow you. They took away my account. And I know it couldn't have been that picture. And I have a friend who tells me it couldn't have just been the third party app. I don't know. I have my suspicions. Of course I do. And let's just say that sometimes karma will bite people in the ass when they least expect it. And I will be laughing at you. Need to think about that. Okay, so here's the one thing that I wanted to mention. Okay, one of the things that Facebook talks about. If you see something on Facebook that doesn't follow the community standards, and I'm reading it verbatim from their site, please use reported links near the content. Here are the few things that aren't allowed on Facebook: nudity or sexually suggestive content, hate speech, credible threats or direct attacks on individuals or groups, content that contains self-harm or excessive violence, fake or imposter profiles, and spam. Okay. Now, all of these you will find on Facebook. Okay. And what's funny is that the first thing that's usually tagged and thrown off are the adult related stuff. Now, everybody already knows, don't put naked pictures up there. Don't put pictures that are sexually provocative, because, Zuckerberg is an asshole. And I guess he thought that he was creating something great. And to me, I still believe that Facebook is like the demon that shouldn't have not been created. It's just crazy. Hate speech is there every day. And this is the reason why I stopped using Facebook. I noticed when I want to say maybe, I want to say more than a year of being on Facebook was when I started to notice a lot of the conversation, the engagement that was going on with other people, and how other people that were not on your list were able to see your things. And if you both had mutual friends and somebody didn't agree with something that you said, they would start an argument with you. And to me, that's insane. Like, who are you? You don't sleep with me. You don't live with me. You don't even live in the same state as me. And here you are arguing with me like I'm supposed to argue with you back. Absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable. And I'm not the kind of person that I will spend my time arguing over something that sometimes is stupid and petty and a waste of my time. If I'm going to make a point and you don't like what I'm saying, I don't care. I mean, it's just like, look, the other day, not even the other day. Well, yes, the other day somebody decided to create a Twitter account just to tell me that I was ugly. I mean, really? Honey, come on. Look at my crown over here. Yes, I have a real crown. Things like that, it's so stupid. It does not bother me. It does not get to me because I could care less what somebody else would think of me visually. I have so many wonderful things in my life. I'm grateful for so many beautiful things that I have. And I'm not going to worry about some person who's probably living in a dirty basement. I was going to say with their parents, but I live with my parents because I take care of them and I make sure that their well-being is okay. But I don't live in a dirty basement. Okay. And look, I have this office and back there is my bedroom. So stop. Getting back to the topic at hand with Facebook is that all of these circumstances occur and it doesn't get shut down. And like I was saying before, maybe a year after being on it was when I started to see the conversations changing and people arguing with each other. It just became ridiculous. And I didn't care for it. That's not what I came to use Facebook for. I connected with people that I hadn't had any connections with for quite some time. And it was nice to see them. And I'm talking about friends of mine that I grew up with in school, people from work, and we connected in that way. The only thing was there was a serious privacy issue where other people can see your stuff, even workplaces. I mean, it just became ridiculous. And for me, I was concerned because I was working and I also had a magazine and I didn't want to be fired for owning an adult magazine because people have issues with adult content. I don't know why that is, but think about it. The internet is sex. I mean, come on. Just the same way magazines were, like physical magazines and newspapers and advertisements and all of that stuff. Think about all the advertisements that we have seen growing up. They were all sexual in some form or another. So for anybody to limit you, what does sexually suggestive mean? Okay. Like, if I just put this down a little bit, am I being sexually suggest? Why can't I say that damn word? If I put my shirt down, or this is a dress rather, am I being sexually provocative? Because I'm having trouble saying the word suggestive. I can't speak today. So, like, come on. You look at Instagram and you see a lot of sexually provocative pictures, and they could be promoting makeup or jewelry or hair. It's always going to be included because that has always been the form of advertising. It always will be, no matter what. It's like if you want to sell a car, how do you sell a car? You're not going to put some big heave-ho man on there unless he's like famous, like a wrestler or something like that. Half of the times you're going to find like some sexual woman driving. Look, she's sexual, she's empowered. And for me, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. And they make it a big deal because they want you to be ashamed of your sexuality. So for Facebook to say, well, we don't like hate speech and you'll be thrown off for that. Really? Go on there now and you're going to find everything hate in that one little area of social networking. Here's the other thing. Okay. Fake or imposter profiles. People are going to make fake profiles if you got blocked and now they can't see your account, so they're going to make another account. Look, it's very easy to make an email address. Make an email address. You can sign up for anything, even if the email address eventually will want your phone number, because I know some of these email companies, they'll want your phone number in order to validate that you're a real person. The internet is a very dangerous place. Let's just put it that way. And I think to myself, I'm out here, I do what I do. I'm a writer, I'm an editor, I communicate with people, I talk about sexual topics, I talk about my relationships and relationships as a whole. I don't hold anything back. And this is the reason why it's called Marabelle Blue Unfiltered. I don't make it a secret that I was involved with somebody who didn't like sex and didn't like to do it and had a lot more issues than just that. And it was a dangerous situation. Like I can't even lie about that. It was just crazy. And I'm not going to get into the whole detail of it because that's not what this is about. But I'm just using these as examples of things that I talk about and things that I put out there for the world to see. So do I get scared? No, because what's the probability that somebody's going to come knocking on my door talking about, I saw your thing and I hate you and what have you. Hopefully, knock on wood, something like that would never happen. But the fact of the matter is that there are topics that I'm going to talk about or anybody else would talk about that you're not going to agree with. The thing is, how do we handle those situations? Are we going to constantly report, well, I didn't like what they said about the president because I'm for him? Let's just get this straight, okay? I'm talking general. I'm talking like as a third person, not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if I hear or read somebody say that, I have a choice. I could mute them, I could block them, or I could ignore it. And people just think that because they hear or see something that they don't like, that it's okay to report it. And I'm talking about safe stuff, safe in the way that it's not directing hate or anything like that. Now, yesterday, this person who made the Twitter account, I said the other day, it was actually yesterday, the person who made the Twitter account just to call me ugly and chastise other people in the adult community and say that they should go kill themselves, that's an entirely different story. You're not going to come on social media thinking it's okay for you to tell other people to kill themselves. Now, of course, I have no problem with trolls and telling them where to go. However, I cannot speak those words because then I will be in trouble and I like my YouTube account. So we will not say that. But here's the thing. Those are the things that don't make it okay. And yet Facebook talks about in their policies that you are not supposed to do that. I don't know if you can see it, but here we are. Okay. And it happens all the time on Facebook. But yet, anybody who is remotely adult gets in trouble and their account taken away from them. Meanwhile, they're not really doing anything but just promoting their product. in the most professional way they see how within reason. Granted, Twitter is an entirely different animal because you can go on Twitter now. It's kind of like logging into Pornhub sometimes. You know, it all depends on what kind of account you have set up, because I don't think that you can see anything without having a Twitter account, especially if it's adult related. So, okay. So the other thing that they talk about is, what types of behavior does Facebook identify as abusive? The following behavior isn't allowed on Facebook: posting things that don't follow the Facebook community standards. Examples: threats, hate speech, graphic violence. Guess what? You will find that on Facebook. Using Facebook to bully, impersonate, or harass anyone. Well, did I tell you about Maddie? So this person, Maddie, made up an account just to tell me, in one of my pictures where I was wearing a mask and I was on my way to Walmart, that I should cover my whole face and save the world from my fugly. I'm still laughing about it because I don't know where people come from with this nonsense. I mean, seriously. That's the difference between me and probably other people who would get that and be very hurt and look at themselves in the mirror and not think anymore and let a person like that take their power from them. And the fact of the matter is that for me, that doesn't take away any power from me, because when I look in the mirror, I feel good about what I look at. Granted that I don't like that I'm overweight. And while people will say, oh, you're not overweight, for me, I'm doing something about it. And that's the difference. Just a little inspiration here. You have the power to make the difference in your life. Please remember that. There is nobody on the internet, nobody that you know, or anyone that you don't know, take away your power and take away who you are as an individual and as a person. And I really, really believe that. I worked really hard to get up to this point in my life, in this moment right now. For me to think that I'm going to let one random person override who I am over a stupid ass comment, it just doesn't work that way. And you know what you do with people like that? You block them. And that's what I did. I laughed about it because I thought it was funny. But at the end of the day, these are the people that you block. However, Facebook, for some reason, kept that person on. While Facebook finds it fine, any pictures that have to do with breastfeeding, any pictures that has to do with breast augmentation, if I'm saying that correctly, those pictures are allowed because they have to do with health benefits or advice of some sort of thing. Also, it's considered life-changing experiences. If people have had cancer or a breast cancer and they had to have their breast removed and basically get new ones, that is compliant. The vast majority, let me read their words, the vast majority of these kinds of photos are compliant with our policies. Okay, now in the end, because there's not really 3 pages really, there are links in these pages though. So I know that it goes into detail. It's not just 3 pages of policy, but it does say, why does Facebook limit the use of certain features and what are the limits? We have placed limits in place to prevent abuse of our features and to protect people from spam and harassment. For example, if someone is sending out a bunch of messages to people they aren't friends with, they may be warned or temporarily blocked from sending messages. Limits are based on different factors like speed and quantity, but we can't provide additional details on the rates limits that are enforced. If you are blocked from using Facebook or feature on Facebook, I should say, you can learn more about feature blocks. Now, okay, I understand. With the inception of the internet, you have a lot of people who want to spam you. Um, my parents usually will get messages and they think that they're real and they have to check in with me and read the messages to find out if it's real or not because, yeah, my parents are smart, but sometimes I don't want them to get ripped off by some message that they got on Facebook because they use it quite often and I don't. So there are many messages that are in there that are unread and they're probably never going to get read. I mean, somebody wished me a happy birthday earlier this year and that was back in May and it's just now that I said thank you and we're in September. Okay. So that goes to show you that this whole messenger feature, I don't have messenger on my phone. I don't have WhatsApp on my phone. I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone. The only time I check Facebook is when I log into my laptop and that's it. I will not download those apps. I don't have a need for those apps because I don't use any of those social medias unless I need to go on there for whatever reason. Because like I said, there are people on my Facebook who are friends that I actually know, family members that I keep in touch with in that way. So there you go. So in that way, yes, getting back to my point, in that way, I can understand why they put a curb on um, people with abusing messages or friend requests or whatever. Now, if you remember the MySpace days, you can have millions of friends. And Tom wasn't saying anything about that because when you logged onto MySpace, when you created your account, Tom was your first friend that you had. I miss those days. If only we can go back to the MySpace days. Those days were so much fun, I'll tell you. Okay, so that's basically it. Now let's get into Instagram. Okay. The first thing that I circled when I read the terms, okay, the Instagram service is one of the Facebook products provided to you by Facebook Inc. Now, I think everybody pretty much knows by now that Facebook purchased Instagram. And I was really angry about that purchase because I felt like now Instagram, that was basically liberal in some sort of way where you can post things that were sexually provocative without getting, I mean, you couldn't be naked, at least not that from what I remember, but it sucked because everybody knew that now things were going to be different. And it is different. I mean, look, after some years of having that account and now not having it anymore, I'm still pretty angry about it. Like, what the hell? It wasn't like I posted naked pictures of myself. And again, do I believe that there are third parties that are involved with my Instagram account? Sure. But like I said, karma. So Instagram, similar to Facebook, will talk about certain things that you cannot do or the type of people that cannot use Instagram. Now, here's an interesting note. You must not be a convicted sex offender. How do you find out? How do you screen that? I mean, if somebody knows how to use VPN, I mean, I'm just saying. Yes, the internet is a very dangerous place, but I also think that it's the responsibility of the person themselves, people who have children. You need to be mindful of who it is that you're interacting with. Yes, there are many of accounts created. I think there was excuse me, there was an account that was created, um not an account, but like several accounts of people who claim to be like voodoo priests and all of this stuff. And they were telling people, if you want to get your lover back, you have to send me videos and pictures of you doing all of these sexual stuff. And people believe that shit. It's just like, wait a minute, what? A real voodoo priest would not tell you you need to send videos of yourself having sex or masturbating or whatever, because that is a form of blackmail. And speaking of blackmail, I am going to do a show on KEM Top Talk interviews and discussions. You know, I keep calling it interviews and discussions. It's actually interviews and topic discussions. And I made the logo, mind you. And I was like, wait a minute, I've been promoting it like this, and it's been that the whole time. So we're going to talk about that because several things have come up where we are forced to address these issues so that people can play safe as far as the adult community is concerned. Okay. So getting back to this, how you can't use Instagram. All right. Providing a safe and open service for a broad community requires that we do our part. You cannot impersonate others or provide inaccurate information. So basically, what it's saying is that I can't go and say, like, I'm Rihanna or something like that, because I'm not. But here's the funny thing what it says. You don't have to disclose your identity on Instagram, but you must provide us with accurate and up-to-date information, including registration information. Isn't that disclosing your identity in some form or another? You're not doing it on open social media, but you're giving it to people, the Zuckerberg people. I wouldn't trust him with a penny, let alone that I would have to fork over any personal information. Nope, not me. Okay, you can't do anything unlawful, misleading, or fraudulent for an illegal or unauthorized purpose. You can't violate or help others to encourage or help or encourage others to violate these terms of service policies. So in other words, they're saying that you can't be as a group if you don't like something and go against what they're saying and go against their terms and their services and their policies, etc. Um, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was when I said you can't do anything unlawful, misleading, or fraudulent for any legal author. Okay, right. Getting back to the example of people that pretending to be voodoo priests and asking for sexual videos and then use it against you to blackmail you to ask for money, and they say that they won't disclose it. You have to be, come on. Where's the common sense? It's just like, I'm trying to find an excuse for it and I can't, because it's just, you know what? Let me not say anything, because look at the last relationship I was in. It's like I got to think about that. Wait a minute, there was no common sense there. Let me stop beating myself up. I learned my lesson. Believe me when I tell you. Okay. You can't attempt to create accounts or access or collect information in unauthorized ways. Now, if anybody has had the experience on Instagram where you will get direct messages from people or private messages, and they start talking about some program and they give you money and all of this stuff, That's all bullshit. Ain't nobody giving you any kind of money unless you're applying for a loan. But there's nobody that's just going to give you money outright, just so you know. Delete those messages. Don't even engage with people like that because it's not even worth it. So here's the scary thing, okay? We do not claim ownership of your content, but you grant us license to use it. Nothing is changing about your rights in your content. We do not claim ownership of your content that you post on or serve or through the service. Instead, when you share, post, or upload content that is covered by intellectual property rights like photos or exclusive royalty-free transferable sub-licensable worldwide license to host use derivative works of your content consistent with your privacy and application settings. You can end this license anytime by deleting your content or account. However, there's always a however. Content will continue to appear if you shared it with others and they have not deleted it. So, okay. So basically, what they're saying is if you wrote a song, it's in essence your copyright. However, because you're putting it out there, you're saying this can be shared and this can be used. So basically, in a nutshell, if you don't want anything out there, then don't share it. There are things that I'm working on. I looked in the back because I have a project that I'm working on and it's actually behind the chair. And I don't want it to be seen because it's something big that I'm working on. And, it's going to come out when it comes out. However, if I put it out now, I can't cry about somebody stealing my content or my ideas or what have you. I've learned a hard lesson when it comes to sharing certain ideas with people that I thought I could trust. And it just happened to be that they were just a horrible person and they were not to be trusted. And there are people in this world that want to lift your ideas because they want to take credit and they want the world to look at them. And that's what they want. Look at me, look at me, look at everything that I'm doing. Look at all this stuff and look at me and it's bull. When you want to do something good for humanity, for a group or what have you, you do it because you love to help people, not because you want to be looked at as some kind of hero. I do what I do because I love what I do. I love educating people. I love talking about all of this terms of service stuff. And even so, me talking about it and not thinking that any of my accounts would have been compromised in some sort of way, it happened, sadly. And you know what? At some point, I'm going to have to get over it and stop being angry and move on and just rebuild the account that I have now. If I get my old account back, I'll be happy. But at this point, right now, I don't know what is going to happen. So even though all of these things, like, I'm not going to get into a whole thing because I can always do like a podcast for this, etc., where I can get more in detail. But I wanted to share this. I wanted to put this up because I think it's really, really important, again, that I can't stress enough that we just can't rely on social media alone to promote our products. Yes, they are helpful, but at the same time, we have a lot of people who are very uncomfortable with certain ideas, certain topics, certain conversations. They don't like to know about it. They don't like to hear about it. I know people on Twitter have unfollowed me because maybe I'm just too sexual for them. And in the meantime, You don't really see anything on my Twitter account other than I could be sharing other people's stuff, retweeting other people's stuff, promoting their things. I'm going to promote my magazine. I have no shame in anything that I do. Um, like, why? It's the reason why I do it, because I love what I do. I love writing about it. I love writing about relationships. It has been my thing since I started the magazine in 2002. So again, I make no apologies for myself and who I am. And if you're uncomfortable with it, I would rather you unfollow me than report me or report a picture or what have you. Like, I can tell all of these things by reading everything that I on my Facebook page, on my Instagram, what have you. I can tell these things. So if something again bothers you, just move on. And not just with me, but with anybody. There are things that, as far as celebrityhood and celebrityhood, I mean like Hollywood, some celebrities I don't care for. I don't need to go on some kind of a tirade about how much I hate them or what have you. It's a waste of breath. Seriously, people, it really is. There are so many other things, so much better things to focus on as opposed to concentrating on. I was like, oh my God, my earring. But then I realized that my microphone is here and hopefully there won't be any clicking sound. But anyway, um, so that's it in a nutshell. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And again, definitely like the video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, definitely subscribe to it. And I do have a Teespring store that I'm going to put up in the link. And you will also find this on Marabelle Blue Unfiltered. And again, I also do interviews on this show. So if you're interested in being interviewed, and I'm talking about non-adult, because yes, I do that too. Just like, believe it or not. So if you're into like witchcraft, if you're into ghost hunting, if you're into some type of politics, advocacy work, whatever that may be, hit me up at mblueunfiltered@gmail.com. Let's coordinate an interview. Let's see what you have to talk about, because I do get a lot of people telling me they're interested in being interviewed. And it's like, what are your talking points? What would you like to talk about? What is it that you want to express to the world? And don't be camera shy. That's all I'm saying. So with all that being said, I'm Marabelle Blue. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.